County Commissioners meeting, 6 p.m., March 11th, 2024. Please rise for the invocation and the pledge. The invocation will be given by Mr. Irving Gilliard.
Good evening, everyone. Our Heavenly Father, we honor you, we praise you, we give you all honor and glory. And we thank you for this Board of County Commissioners that have come together to discuss and make decisions concerning the residents of Nassau County. We ask as they go through this agenda that you lead and guide them in the direction that you would have them to go that would be beneficial for our great county. We ask a blessing upon their support staff, the county manager's office, county attorneys, all of those that support them. Ask a blessing upon our first responders as they go through dangers they see and dangers they don't see. Continue to keep them safe from all hurt, harm, and danger. Again, we ask a blessing upon our great county and these commissioners that go forward in this business. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag of our country. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Madam Clerk, would you call the roll?
Commissioner McCullough. Here. Commissioner Gray.
Here.
Commissioner Farmer.
Here.
Commissioner Huffman.
Here.
Chair Martin.
Here. We're going to go right into public comment for non-agenda items. Comments can only be for items under the authority of the Board of County Commissioners. Time limit is 3 minutes. I have one comment card for Ms. Jackie Osborne.
Thank you. Good evening. Jackie Osborne, 85503 Sagapine Boulevard. Good evening, Mr. Chairman. Thank you for allowing me to speak to this group. As you know, I volunteer at Nassau County Animal Services, NCAS. According to the National Animal Welfare Statistics, in 2023, there were 6.5 million cats and dogs that went into shelters. These numbers are about half and half for cats, half for dogs. That number, 3.8 million, were strays, 2 million were relinquished by owner. The NCAS shelter has been a no-kill shelter for more than 10 years. The only exception would be during the COVID shutdown. As we know, the world just went to you-know-where, so that went crazy. From March 1 through today, the shelter has received 24 stray dogs. Over and above that, there was a dog who had puppies, and it was a stray, and they brought the puppies in, 6 puppies. The puppies lasted 4 days, and they were gone, adopted right out, which is great. Which brings me to missing pets. 15% of the total pet owners have experienced pet loss. 6% of the dog owners got their dogs from animal shelters. The survey also revealed that 15% of canines were brought back to their owners by means of an identification tag. 16% of lost pets eventually returned to their owners. 90% of the time, your pet will be found in your area in less than 12 hours. It's very important to have your animals chipped, as stated earlier. Vets can do this for a cost between $25 and $60, or you can go to the Nassau County Animal Services and have it done for free, F-R-E-E, free. The numbers at the animal shelter today are 77 dogs in the kennel, 64 dogs are out in foster care. While this number seems high, the efforts and hard work of the NCAS staff has resulted in an enormous drop in the numbers several months ago when the canine numbers were over 100. There are 21 cats in the cattery and 9 cats out in foster care. 21 is a large number, but nothing compared to what's going to happen in about 8 weeks. On or about May 6th, that number will exceed 100. Kitten season will be here before you know it. For those of you out there, please have your pets spayed and neutered. I promise this is the last thought, Mr. Martin. If you're considering a rabbit, chick, or duckling for an Easter gift, don't. Thousands are purchased each year only to be dumped a few weeks later when the owner realizes the responsibility. 80% of the rabbits are abandoned, but most are euthanized or die quick deaths after being set free. A rabbit can live up to 10 years, and it's not so cute when it gets so big, or digs a hole in your sofa, or eats your baseboard. That little chick or duck can cost you hundreds of dollars each year, especially if it gets sick. And what about whenever the hormones kick in that chicken? If you have a full-grown chicken and their hormones are underdrive, you're in trouble. Doesn't sound like good? Don't pick up any of these animals. 7 seconds left. Thank you so very much.
Thank you, Ms. Osborne. Okay, we're going to move into public comment for agenda items. Except for quasi judicial items, any member of the public can address any item on the agenda now or wait until the matter is addressed. Time limit is 3 minutes. I have one comment card from Dr. Lorene Pagel for tab M. Would you like to comment now or wait until tab M comes up?
I'll wait until tab M.
Thank you. County Manager, do you have any expansion items?
None tonight, sir. Thank you.
County Attorney, any expansion items?
I have none, thank you, sir.
Moves us into resolutions, tab A. Consider resolution/proclamations. Consider a proclamation recognizing the Amelia Island Plantation's 50th anniversary, and I've asked Commissioner Hupman to present the proclamation.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to make a motion to approve tab A.
I'll second that motion.
We have a motion from Commissioner Hupman, second from Commissioner Farmer. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Now Commissioner Hupman will.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. If the professionals from the Amelia Island Plantation would join me. Come on up, Mr. Cox. Thank you, sir.
Come on up, yeah, please.
Nope? Okay. All right. Thanks for joining us this evening. We're honored to have you here. A proclamation of the Nassau County Board of County Commissioners celebrating Amelia Island Plantation's 50th anniversary. Whereas in 1970, the Sea Pines Company, led by the innovative and environmentally conscious developer Charles E. Fraser, purchased 3,700 acres of the south end of Amelia Island for $4.6 million from the Union Carbide Corporation, which once had eyed the site as a titanium strip mine. Whereas in 1972, the master plan was released for the Amelia Island Plantation, an oceanfront resort community to be developed on a portion of that site. Whereas the master plan developed by the visionary landscape architect Ian McHarg, author of Design with Nature, who brought ecological planning into the mainstream of landscape architecture, and his partners in the firm of Wallace, McHarg, Roberts, and Todd, sought to preserve the natural environment of Amelia Island Plantation, including dunes, tidal marshes, a tree canopy with 900 acres of marshland and woodland permanently set aside as a wildlife sanctuary and a forest preserve. Whereas the official grand opening of the Amelia Island Plantation was celebrated on July 4th, 1974. Whereas the development of Amelia Island Plantation as a high-end resort community with a private club, championship golf, and prestigious tennis facility helped spur Amelia Island's rise as a renowned tourist destination, thereby changing the economic trajectory of the island. And whereas Amelia Island Plantation now encompasses 1,340 acres, whose current value approaches $3 billion. Whereas the Amelia Island Championships, a women's tennis association tournament held at the plantation from 1980 to 2008, attracted some of the greatest tennis players of their time, including Martina Navratilova, Chris Everett, Steffi Graf, Gabriella Sabatini, Lindsay Davenport, Monica Seles, and Venus Williams. Whereas Amelia Island Plantation residents have been actively involved in the surrounding community since AIP's founding, including the Amelia Tree Conservancy, Barnabas Center, Boys and Girls Clubs of Nassau County, Master Gardeners, Micah's Place, the Nassau Council on Aging, Nassau Habitat for Humanity, the Nassau Humane Society, Take Stock in Children, and numerous other nonprofit organizations. Whereas Amelia Island Plantation Community Association has planned special activities in Amelia Island Plantation to celebrate the 50th anniversary of its grand opening in 1974. Whereas it is fitting to express appreciation for the plantation's continued dedication to being a community in harmony with nature and the benefits of development of Amelia Island Plantation has brought to this community. Therefore, it's proclaimed by the Board of County Commissioners on this 11th day of March. We recognize the 50th anniversary of Amelia Island Plantation, and we wish you every success to the community associations on its year-long celebration. That's signed by Chairman Commissioner Martin, the County Attorney Denise May, and our Clerk of the Courts, Mr. John Crawford. Congratulations, Mr. Cox, and thank you for being such a great friend.
Thank you, Commissioner Hubble.
My pleasure.
Mr. Chairman and Commissioners, may it please you, let me introduce, first of all, our Executive Director, Kobe Shear. She just joined our staff about 2 weeks ago and already making a great impression. Our Tim Digby, some of you may know Tim, is retired and still helping us out until we make the transition. Also with me is Helen Cook Eustace. Helen is chairman of our 50th anniversary celebration committee and has done just such a magnificent job putting together a number of events. One is pending right now at the Council on Aging. I invite you to go down. It's a display beginning of 1972 or 3, around in there, of pictures and of the development and how things have changed. I think you'd really enjoy seeing it. And speaking of the Council of Aging, they have put on some wonderful presentations for us, and it's just a great harmony between our community and Nassau County. We couldn't survive without Station 20 of the Nassau Rescue and Fire Department, nor could we survive without Sheriff Leeper and his deputies assisting our security. So we know and appreciate Nassau County. Thank you very much. Hand me that? Sure, I did.
Thank you again, sir. Thank you for taking that. Congratulations. Here's a couple more.
Okay, that will move us into consent items. If any board member wishes to move a consent item to new business, please do so now. Okay, I would like to move tab H from the consent agenda to new business. Does any member of the public want to speak on a consent item? I will entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda with the exception of tab H.
Motion, Mr. Chairman.
Motion from Commissioner Gray,
Second?
second from Commissioner Hupman. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Okay, so that will, we'll entertain a motion to adjourn as the Board of County Commissioners and convene as the American Beach Water and Sewer District.
So moved.
Second?
Motion from Commissioner Gray, second from Commissioner Hupman. Is there any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries, and that will move us into tab K. Consider the appointment of Irving Gilliard and Eugene Emery to the American Beach Water and Sewer District Advisory Board to a term effective March 1, 2024 through February 28, 2025. Entertain a motion for,
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
motion from Commissioner Hupman, second by Commissioner Farmer, to approve tab K. All those, is there any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Gilliard. I know I see you in the audience, and I didn't see Mr. Emery here, but thank you both for your willingness to continue to serve, because you guys have been a great asset to this advisory board. I don't know if county manager or county attorney would like to say a few words about that, because you've been there day in, day out with them on this project.
Yes, I mean, both Dr. Emery and Mr. Gilliard have been instrumental in the success, and Mr. Gilliard in particular, working in the community, and deserves a lot of credit for getting us through some difficult issues with the project, and we're on the home stretch right now, so appreciate all your hard work, and thank you for volunteering again.
Thank you. All right, tab L, approve and authorize chairman to sign contract number CM 3171-C02 with the U.S. Water Services Corporation for the American Beach Well and Septic Phase Out Project in the amount of $321,000, $321,240.40.
Make a motion to approve tab L, Mr. Chairman.
I'll second that.
Motion from Commissioner Hutman, and second by Commissioner Farmer. We have any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. I entertain a motion to adjourn as American Beach Water and Sewer District and convene as the Board of County Commissioners.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Second?
Motion from Commissioner Gray, second from Commissioner Hutman. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries, and we're now under new business, and we'll go to tab H. Approve a proclamation of the Board of County Commissioners of Nassau County, Florida, honoring the life of David Berkman. The reason that I wanted to move this was simply so that I could read it into the record. So I'll entertain a motion for tab H.
Mr. Chairman, I would like to make that motion, please, sir.
Second?
Motion from Commissioner Gray, second from Commissioner Hutman. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. The Berkman, Ms. Berkman and their family are not here tonight because, that's the reason I'm reading it into the record. I'm going to make a presentation of this to Ms. Betty Berkman and her family on March 18th at Story and Song. So if anyone would like to come to that, you are more than welcome. But I wanted to make sure that when we voted on this, that it got read into the record. Proclamation of the Nassau County Board of County Commissioners honoring the life of David Berkman. Whereas David Berkman was born on February 5th, 1931 in Atlanta, Georgia. And whereas upon graduating from Grady High School in Atlanta, Georgia, David Berkman attended Georgia State University where he majored in business administration. However, David always wanted to be involved in real estate and was quoted as saying, "It works for you 7 days a week." And whereas, for over 60 years, David Berkman was successful in many areas of real estate, including buying, selling, development of land and apartment communities in Georgia, Florida, South Carolina, Alabama, and Tennessee. And whereas, in addition to real estate, David Berkman had many passions, including his devotion for his wife of 68 years, Betty, their children, Sherry Jennings and Stephen Berkman, 7 grandchildren, and 3 great-grandchildren. And whereas David Berkman was also an avid sports fan, he owned the Atlanta Knights hockey team, which won the Turner Cup in 1994. He was also a partner and CEO of the Jacksonville Lizard Kings, Birmingham Bulls, and the Pensacola Ice Pilots of the East Coast Hockey League, as well as the Jacksonville Tomcats, Birmingham Steel Dogs, and the Pensacola Barracudas of the AFI II Football League. And whereas David Berkman believed in giving back to his community and was a very generous donor to many charitable organizations. His most proud opportunity was sponsoring the Berkman Building at Baptist Nassau Hospital, which consists of a 49,000 square foot, 48-bed patient wing to the existing hospital facility, expanding care opportunities for Nassau County residents. And whereas David Berkman passed away on September 3rd, 2021, at home surrounded by his wife and children. And whereas Betty Berkman has made it her mission to continue David Berkman's efforts in giving back to the community in his honor. And whereas Betty Berkman has given generously in recent years, making major contributions to the quality of life for Nassau County residents, including a donation to the MacArthur Family YMCA to assist with plans to expand its youth programs, a donation to the city of Fernandina Beach for construction of a new playground for Teddy Bear Playground at Central Park, a donation to the Council on Aging for an outdoor pavilion and memorial garden, a donation to the Boys and Girls Clubs for a new teen center and scholarship program, a donation to Barnabas Center for their dental clinic, a donation to Nassau Habitat for Humanity for construction of Berkman Place, a site with new affordable homes in Fernandina Beach. And it's not written in here, but let me tell you, when they make a donation, they make a donation. It's a significant amount of money that they have donated. Ms. Berkman has been very generous in honoring her husband. Whereas the Board of County Commissioners recognizes Betty Berkman's efforts in maintaining David Berkman's legacy of kindness, generosity, and selflessness, and appreciates everything she has done for the community. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed that the Board of County Commissioners of Nassau County, Florida, on this 11th day of March 2024, hereby extends its sincere gratitude to David and Betty Berkman for their commitment to serve children, families, and the community they love. signed by me as chairman of the Board of County Commissioners, John Crawford, our clerk, and our county attorney, Denise May. So they're not here, but they definitely deserve a round of applause. It'll be my honor to present this next week at Story and Song on March 18th. And the time, I think the time is, I think it's 4:30. 4:30. But, okay. Okay, tab M. Consider a recommendation to LSF Health Systems to place the year one funds in the amount of $808,197 from opioid settlements into the existing contract with Starting Point Behavioral Health in order for Nassau County to benefit from the existing relationship between LSF Health Systems and Starting Point. This action should provide Starting Point the ability to rapidly build infrastructure and capacity in their system of care for Nassau County. And Dr. Pagel, if you would like to come to the podium, use your name and address for the record, and you have 3 minutes.
Thank you, Commissioner Martin. Maureen Pagel, 3002 Riverside Drive, Ferndon Beach, Florida, 32034. I appreciate the support from each of the commissioners. I've met with everyone except for Commissioner McCullough. I think we have a meeting coming up during spring break. This is very important to me, and I know it's very important to many of you, addressing the opioid epidemic here in Nassau County and through the state of Florida. We have a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity that actually is going to last over the next 18 years to make an impact in what we're doing here to save the lives of the residents, of the families, of the children. And starting this immediately is important to me to invest on our infrastructure so we can increase services on the east side and the west side of the county and meet the people where they are and go to them. I also have a proposal that, I don't know the proper way of giving handouts, regarding the continuation of a task force. Again, it's important that we keep this momentum going, that we address the funding over the next 18 years. The money coming in just for the county is $1.6 million. That does not account for the money coming through the managing entity or the money coming into the city of Fernandina Beach. There's $277,000 out there right now that's been allocated year 1, 2 for the county. I'd like to keep this going. I'd like to make sure that we have all of those who are impacted, who have a voice, have an opportunity. So I just put some thoughts down on paper. Again, I'm not sure if this is allowed. Marshall does have a copy.
You can give it to the deputy clerks.
Okay.
And they'll pass those out.
For each of the commissioners regarding a task force, and I took the language right from the state attorney's office regarding their council, their abatement council, and the purpose and vision of their abatement council. So again, these are just some of my thoughts to continue this momentum going and ensure that we can capitalize and take full advantage of the opportunity to use these funds for the people who live here in Nassau County and save some lives, basically, is really what we're looking to do. So again, I really just wanted to thank you very much for your continued support, and I look forward to working with you over the next many, many years to address this issue in our county.
Thank you, Dr. Pagel. Are there any questions for Dr. Pagel before she takes her seat? Sorry about that.
No, sir.
Commissioner Gray.
Question, I'd just like to thank, I met with Dr. Pagel and appreciate everything that Starting Point's doing, partnering with the county. And, I think SWOT analysis will give us the data we need to move forward over the next 18 years. But we do have money that we know is going to be coming available June 1st. And so we're going to try to get ahead of the curve and have some recommendations. Talk to staff a little bit, or just on me as a single commissioner. So we are working on it. And I want to say thank you very much, Dr. Pagel.
Thank you, Commissioner Gray.
Anyone? Any other commissioner? Thank you. So let's go ahead and get a motion in a second, and then under discussion, if there's any additional comments, county manager or assistant county manager would like to add.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion for approval of tab M, please, sir. Second that.
Motion from Commissioner Gray, second by Commissioner Farmer. County manager, assistant county manager.
Defer to Marshall on this one.
So this topic, we had a good opportunity to speak at the winter strategic planning session. As we know, with these settlements, they're very focused on prevention, treatment, and recovery. We do have the benefit of Starting Point to really focus on that treatment, and so the funding tonight, as we look at that, really helps set the foundation for those capital improvements, for that long-term commitment, helping to expand those facilities, some of the mobile areas. And we will continue. So part of the other side was we're completing the SWOT analysis and working with our community partners. The whole concept where we kind of left it from the winter strategic planning session is we're going to continue the outreach. We're going to come back with a plan and make sure we know how we're going to kind of start to program this out over the 18 years and really hope to address the needs in the community to really resolve a lot of the opioid issues here in Nassau County.
Any questions for Mr. Ironman? Okay, so we have a motion and a second. Before we vote, I think this is a great idea with the task force proposal, but that doesn't need to be part of this vote. That you need to consider.
So if it's okay with the board, we will come back to you with a proposal on the structure, the format, on how we would operate the committee.
Correct.
Get your approval at a future date.
Right. I had a feeling that was what you would want to do. Okay, so we have a motion and a second to approve tab M. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Congratulations, Dr. Pagel.
Thank you very much.
You can leave now. Okay, that will move us into quasi-judicial public hearings. The following matters under consideration are quasi-judicial matters, and the quasi-judicial procedures will be utilized for the following. County Attorney will read the procedures.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. As stated, these are quasi-judicial hearings, and copies of these procedures can be found at the entry to chambers. The Florida statutes and the courts of Florida require the following items be heard as quasi-judicial hearings. Those are tab N to consider FD 23-002, the final development plan for Phase 1B, Unit 16 of Tributary PUD, allowing a maximum of 160 single-family residential units and associated infrastructure. Application filed by Three Rivers Developers LLC owner and Dominion Engineering Group, Inc. as agent. Tab O, to consider R 24-002, the rezoning of approximately 1.54 acres located on US 1, south of Roberts Road, north of Colson Road, from residential mixed RM and commercial intensive CI to commercial intensive CI. Application filed by Jimmy L. and Carol T. Higginbotham, owners, District 5. Quasi-judicial hearings by state and case law are different than regular hearings conducted by this board. A quasi-judicial hearing is less formal than a court hearing, but similar in its procedures and evidence matters. Applicants have the burden of demonstrating through competent substantial evidence that his or her application is consistent with the following requirements. As for tab N, Land Development Code Section 5.07C, Land Development Code Article 25, and Ordinances 2006-68, 2019-03, and 2021-16. As for tab O, Future Land Use Element Policy FL.01.02D, Land Development Code Section 502C and D, and rezoning application criteria 12A through N. Those opposed must also demonstrate through competent and substantial evidence that the application does not meet these requirements. General objections without specific evidence do not constitute substantial and competent evidence. The applicant is entitled to be represented by counsel. Does any applicant here wish to ask for a continuance to be represented by counsel? Seeing none, the hearing procedures will be as follows. Staff will be sworn in to describe the applicant's request, and they will have 10 minutes. The applicant may waive their presentation and rely on staff comments. If the applicant waives that presentation, they retain the right to rebut that testimony against their application. Do any applicants wish to waive their application and rely upon staff comments? Seeing none, the applicant will then have an opportunity to present evidence. They will also have 10 minutes. If the applicant has witnesses, they will indicate the name of each, and they will have 5 minutes each to speak. Public participants for or against the application will be sworn. They will have 3 minutes each to provide testimony and present evidence to the board. Sharing or transferring of time is not allowed. Public participants that present evidence for or against the application will address the board at the podium, and any documents will be given to the deputy clerks. As a quasi-judicial hearing, large numbers of individuals for or against will not be considered. The applicant or their representative may then cross-examine those presenting evidence. Cross-exam will be for 5 minutes each. The applicant will have a maximum of 10 minutes to provide any rebuttal as to evidence presented. Staff will have 5 minutes for final comments. The board will then close the public hearing and discuss the application, and may ask questions of applicants, staff, or witnesses. Any motion of the board should include whether the board member finds competent, substantial evidence in the record and/or testimony received to support your decision. Meeting is being recorded, so please no applause, outbursts, or talking, as it does distort the recording. Strict rules of evidence applicable to court proceedings are not utilized. However, the board, with the assistance of the county attorney, may exclude evidence that is not relevant to the code criteria. If anyone has questions regarding these procedures, could you please ask them at this time? Seeing none, Mr. Chair, you may continue.
Okay. The floor is now open for public discussion for tab N. Ex parte disclosure, including emails, letters, and any other forms of communication. Disclosure should include who the communication was with and the substance of the communication. Commissioner McCullough.
No, sir.
Commissioner Gray.
None.
Commissioner Farmer.
None.
Commissioner Hutman.
None, sir.
And I have none. Madam Clerk, would you identify documents submitted into the record?
For FD 23-002, I have staff report 3 pages, DRC approved plan 8 pages, interim report 4 pages, and PZB motion summary 1 page, and PowerPoint presentation 6 pages.
I'll entertain a motion to accept documents into the record for tab N.
So moved.
Second.
Motion from Commissioner Hutman, second by Commissioner Farmer. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Staff presentation for tab N, 10 minutes. Maximum.
Do you swear the purpose for making this matter is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Please state your name and department.
Didn't want you to think I expected a minimum of 10 minutes.
It's Joshua Macbeth, Senior Planner, Nassau County Planning. Thank you, Honorable Chairman and Commissioners. So this is tab N. This is Final Development Plan 23-002. This is consider the approval of Final Development Plan for Tributary PUD Phase 1B, Unit 16. Applicant owners, Three Rivers Developers LLC. Agents, Dominion Engineering Group Incorporated. This is in Commission District 5. So locating ourselves where tributary is, we're south of 200. We're west of Edwards Road. And then if we follow along Tributary Drive, this is kind of where the roundabout is. As part of a future final development plan, 23001, this is the Spine Road extension. And then here is the topic for today, which is going to be that Unit 16. It does have a connection on the plan back to Unit 4, which is part of the Lakeview subdivision. So here's that connection back to Unit 4. That's part of Phase 1A, Unit 4. And then this is Unit 16, which is for consideration. So Unit 16 was approved by the Development Review Committee on December 5th, 2023. Background on this PUD, it's for 160 single-family units and associated infrastructure on approximately 37.08 acres. Phase 1B, Unit 16 does not trigger any required improvements beyond its immediate infrastructure. In terms of transportation, condition 24, Phase 1 development will not result in transportation deficiencies on impacted roads or facilities. The developer shall be responsible for any applicable Nassau County impact fees, mobility fees, turn lanes, or other transportation mitigation requirements associated with the development of Phase 1. And then affordable housing, per special condition 26, the developer will guarantee at a minimum an additional 100 residential units. 50 of these units shall be provided in Phase 1. Please note that no such units have been proposed for this particular phase or unit. And then conclusion recommendation, the proposed final development plan has been reviewed by county staff and has been found consistent with the submission and submittal requirements pursuant to Section 507C2, Site Development Plan Review, Submission Requirements, and Section 2505F, Plan Unit Development PUD Procedures. Consistency with the approved PUD development order. Proposed FDP is consistent with the adopted and amended preliminary development plan PDP and adopted PUD conditions pursuant to Article 25 of the county's land development code. Staff's recommendation is for approval of application FD 23-002 for the final development plan for tributary plan unit development, Phase 1B, Unit 16. And the Planning and Zoning Board recommended approval of a 7-0 vote. And staff's available for any questions.
Any questions for questions? Okay. Would the applicant desire to make a presentation or just rely on staff's presentation? I'm going to call for any public participants, come to the podium. I have no comment cards, but if there's anyone in the audience that would like to speak, seeing none. Therefore, there is no applicant rebuttal. Any final comments from staff? Okay, the floor is now closed for public discussion for tab N, and we will have board deliberation. Before we do that, let's entertain a motion to approve or deny tab N.
I'll make a motion, Mr. Chairman. Based upon the record evidence and testimony received, I find that there is competent and substantial evidence pursuant to Land Development Code, LDC Section 5.07, Submission Requirements, LDC Article 25, Plan Unit Development and Ordinances 2006-68, 2019-03, and 2021-16, and therefore my motion is to approve FD 23-002.
Second?
Second, Mr. Chairman.
So we have a motion from Commissioner Farmer, second from Commissioner Hutman. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Oh, wait a minute, whoa, I did it again. And that you were warning me. All right. Madam Clerk, would you call the roll?
Commissioner McCullough,
Yes.
Commissioner Gray,
Yes.
Commissioner Hupman,
Yes.
Commissioner Farmer,
Yes.
and Chair Martin.
Yes,
5 ayes, 0 nays.
motion carries. Sorry about that. Okay, now I'm going to open the floor for public discussion for tab O, and I don't need to read this again because our attorney read this earlier in the instructions. So the floor is now open for public discussion on tab O. Ex parte disclosure, including emails, letters, and any other forms of communication. Disclosure should include who the communication was with and the substance of the communication. Commissioner McCullough.
No, sir.
Commissioner Gray.
No, sir.
Commissioner Farmer.
I saw Mr. Higginbotham at the pig restaurant. He told me that he had filed this application, and that was the extent of the communication.
Commissioner Hutman.
None, sir.
And I have none. Madam Clerk, would you identify the documents submitted into the record?
For R 24-002, I have staff report 6 pages, draft ordinance 3 pages, survey 1 page, application 10 pages, Article 17, commercial intensive zoning district 5 pages, supplemental staff report 20 pages, PZB motion summary 1 page, and PowerPoint presentation 13 pages.
Entertain a motion to accept documents into the record for tab O.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
Motion from Commissioner Hutman, second by Commissioner Farmer. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Staff presentation for tab O, 10-minute max.
Thank you, Honorable Chairman, Commissioners. Josh McBeth, Nassau County Planning. This is tab O. It's R24-002. This is a split zoning residential mix in CI. The request is to go to CI on the entire property. We are actually at the end of the presentation. Skip back. So applicants are Jimmy and Carol Higginbotham. There is no applicable agent, and this is in Commission District 5. So we are located on US Highway 1 between Blessed Way and Colson Road. This is Roberts Road right here, and then this is the subject property. So the zoning is proposed from residential mix and commercial intensive CI to commercial intensive. So you'll note there's residential mixed in the back of the property, and then the front of the property is commercial intensive. And then the land use for the entire property is commercial. Article 17, so this was attached to our application, but just to be familiar with some of the uses found in CI zoning, retail outlets, service establishments, outdoor fruit, vegetable, fish markets, professional and business offices, theaters, all uses permitted in a commercial general district. Conditional uses include child care facilities, hospitals, wholesale warehouse or storage uses, building trade contractors, outside storage yards, and I will note on the conditional use, you'll note the building trade contractors with outside storage and heavy construction equipment. This would be applicable to this property. And the applicant would need to pursue this conditional use to do outside storage, which is currently what is on this particular property. Consistency with the comprehensive plan, policy FL 102C. The rezoning of the property to CI would be consistent with development patterns along US 1 and the current land use designation of commercial, which is applied to a half-mile stretch of US 1 from Roden Lane to Blessed Way. In terms of policy FL 0806A through G, the county shall direct new residential and commercial development in rural and transitioning areas. The projected development patterns in the area designated for commercial and vicinity properties currently allow for commercial services. Property provides infill development to an existing commercial node, has access to Callahan water and sewer systems, is not creating urban development near existing agricultural lands, and it's not in a PUD. It's found to be consistent with policy FL 0806. Heading into our rezoning criteria are 12A through N, pursuant to LDC section 502C and D. The future land use map and comprehensive plan, CI is consistent with underlying surrounding future land use designations of commercial. CI is consistent with the comprehensive plan, which includes policies for the protection, expansion of job-generating land uses. For adjacent zoning districts, the parcels in the existing commercial corridor located on US 1, extending from Blessed Way to Roden Lane, that's approximately 0.56 miles. North and south of the property, there is CI zoning to a depth of approximately 180 feet. Properties to the north and south show commercial land use to the entire depth of the property. Area plans overlay districts are county plans and programs that support this application. It's supported by the county's coordinated effort to locate commercial uses in western Nassau within rural village centers and vacant commercial lands existing within and adjacent to the town of Hilliard and Callahan. In this case, the town of Callahan's town limits are within 1,200 feet to the north, south, and east of this property. Does this result in urban sprawl? So as noted in that future land use map, it's planned for future commercial growth. There's commercial designated land uses to the north and south of this property. Proposed rezoning does not create an isolated district. In terms of public infrastructure, non-residential uses would not impact or have an impact on our schools and parks. Sites served by Callahan Water and Sewer Services. It's on a state-maintained road, principal arterial US 1, and any additional traffic impacts and/or improvements will be evaluated at the time of site plan review. Consistency for any substantive requirements of the code. So there is a mobile home located just north of this property, or northwest, pursuant to 3706, where we have buffer requirements. Adjacent residential properties must be screened by a 25-foot wide high-density buffer, which would be considered at the time of site plan review. Adverse impacts on neighboring lands. The neighboring lands to the north and south have similar CI zoning and provide commercial services. Proper buffers between uses will be evaluated during that development review procedures. Adverse impacts on environmental, historical, or cultural significant lands. So there's no known environmentally sensitive lands or areas of historical or cultural significance on this particular site. The present zoning suitability or unsuitability. So the portion of the property that is RM cannot currently be developed with the future land use of commercial. So per this request, the residential mix would be changed to CI, which would be consistent with that underlying commercial land use. In terms of land use and development conditions, there have been no substantial changes to the land use or development conditions relevant to this particular property. Public policies in favor of the rezoning, strategic plan FS and EP Initiative 1, prioritize economic development, business expansion, retention, and job creation, promote policies, programs, partnerships, and initiatives that facilitate the application of 6 pillars of Florida's future economy as defined by the Florida Chamber of Commerce, and our economic development goal to diversify the county's tax base and employment base and lessen the tax burden for existing residents and businesses while preserving a sense of community in the county's environmental assets. Fiscally, environmentally sustainable development pattern. Criterion applies to a larger area that can sustain characteristics of a mixed-use development. Environmental impacts, it's not within a special flood hazard area, and any development shall meet environmental and drainage standards set forth by St. John's River Water Management District, Department of Environmental Protection, U.S. Fish and Wildlife, and U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. And in terms of compact development form criterion applies to a larger area that can sustain characteristics of a mixed-use development. So we did add an addendum to the PZB, an additional supplemental staff report. Staff was made aware of a code enforcement case pending in relation to this particular property on February 15th, and that complaint was attached to this application, complaint number 8088. And from staff's perspective, the starting point for fixing this noncompliance issue is with this rezoning application. So the property begins with the rezoning application to amend residential mix to commercial intensive, which is consistent with the future land use of commercial. If the rezoning request is approved, the applicant will then need to acquire a conditional use permit pursuant to that section 17.04D. If the conditional use request is approved, the next step would be to remedy any unpermitted activity with review and site review under Class 2 development procedures and standards in accordance with Section 507. As presently zoned, the property cannot be developed with RM. It can only be developed in that front portion that's CI and has that future land use of commercial. Conclusion and recommendation. Staff finds the requested amendment is consistent with requirements of future land use policies FL 102C and FL 0806A through G. Land Development Code, LDC Section 502C and D requirements have been met. Criteria for rezoning, approval of the rezoning application, the criteria is 12A through N has been met. And based on these findings, staff recommends approval of application R24-002. And the Planning and Zoning Board recommended approval with a 7-0 vote. Staff's available for any questions.
Any questions for Mr. McBeth? Commissioner Farmer?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Macbeth, what would the typical buffers be on a property like this? You know, it said 25-foot buffers. I mean, would that be a shrubbery? Would that constitute a buffer, or is this something like a wall or a fence? Or I'm just trying to wrap my mind around what the buffer would be required.
So pursuant to that 3706, we have a chart that basically indicates, so if you have commercial land next to a residential property, it's a high-density buffer. So that 25 feet includes 90 shrubs, I believe 5 canopy trees for every 100 linear feet. It's a substantial buffer. And so when they look at that, we look at, okay, this is being used for commercial, and there's an existing residence to the north. That's not to say that's the final verdict of that site plan review. We may evaluate that, the property to the north has been vacant and would not require a buffer. We would make that determination at the time of DRC, but we did want to acknowledge there appears to be a residence just north. To the south, it's undeveloped. To the west, it's undeveloped. And then everything adjacent to it's commercial, which would not require those high-density buffers because those are consistent zonings. But it's basically a chart within our landscaping code.
Any other questions for Mr. McBeth?
Just to clarify, so that you're saying
Commissioner
that, thank you, Mr. Chairman, that discussion would take place at the DRC and beyond, not correct, after the, okay, thank you, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Oh, you're welcome, thank you. Would the applicant like to take any time to make a presentation or comments? Please state your name and address for the record.
Do you swear affirm testimony in this matter is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
If you can state your name and address.
Jimmy L. Hickenbotham, 43131 Thomas Creek Road, Callahan, Florida. When the comp plan was done in 1990, I was chairman of the county commissioners. And that property there was zoned commercial, all of it. The property next door was. There's some history on that. Somebody in the zoning department didn't like some of the commissioners, and they changed it. I think our county manager is aware of some of that now. I shouldn't even have to go through this. But unfortunately, I didn't find it out till years later. I had one other property that I did that away south of Callahan. And it got approved, we put a mobile home dealership there, and 6 months later, we found out that the back part of it was on residential, we had to change it. We done that in 1998. But I just like to get all this straight, and of course, I've been trying to get this done for years. Mr. Pope knows about it. So I appreciate any consideration. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. All right, anyone from the public who would like to participate. I don't have any comment cards. Is there any public participation? Seeing none, therefore the applicant has no rebuttal. Any final comments from staff? All right. Floor is closed for public discussion for tab O. And I entertain a motion to approve or deny tab O.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion, please.
Mr. Farmer?
Based on the record, evidence, and testimony received, I find that there is competent and substantial evidence pursuant to future land use element policy FL.01.02D and Land Development Code Section 5.02 C and D and rezoning application criteria 12A through N, and therefore my motion is to approve R 24-002.
Second?
A motion from Commissioner Farmer, second from Commissioner Hupman. Do we have any board deliberation? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Commissioner McCullough,
Yes.
Commissioner Gray,
Yes.
Commissioner Farmer,
Yes.
Commissioner Hupman,
Yes.
and Chair Martin.
Yes.
5 ayes, 0 nays.
Motion carries. That will take us into county manager business,
I have no additional business tonight, sir. Thank you.
county attorney business.
I have no business, Mr. Chair, but I do have an introduction for you. Our new Assistant County Attorney started last week. Her name is Beth Moore. Beth, stand up for everybody.
Welcome.
We are actually very, very happy to have Ms. Moore with us, and she will be such an excellent addition. She comes to us from the outside. She has done land development, contract negotiations. While not yet certified, she is certainly going to get that quickly. So thank you, Beth, for being here tonight.
Welcome aboard. Anything else, Madam County
I
Attorney?
have nothing else. Thank you, sir.
County commission items. Commissioner, I think Commissioner Hupman, it's your turn to go.
Great, thank you,
first.
Mr. Chairman. I had the pleasure of, by invitation, going out to the Elm Street Little League on Saturday morning, and the honor of being asked to throw the first pitch. First time in my public service career. I have to tell you that it can shake you up a little bit, because what if you throw it in the dirt or over the backstopper? But my friends can testify, I fired a fastball right down the center, and that went extremely well. But thanks to them, it's great to see the spring has sprung and the kids are back out on the fields and out playing. That one's another great one because it was the county and city got together to help work out that Elm Street Park over there, and they got some expansion, some help in there. Yes, so more great county-city work. Two, I attended senior night at the Callahan Fairgrounds Municipal Building. That was a pleasure, put on by the county and for folks 55 and over. That dawned on me that I am in fact one of those folks. But it was great. They had live music, they had bingo, food served by the Leadership Nassau, volunteered, came out and served food. It was a great evening. Well done to Jay and the rec staff for putting that on. It was a great evening. So that's all I have, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, I don't know if it was a fastball, but it went straight, it went straight.
Straight in the strike zone.
It didn't hit the dirt, and it didn't go over the catcher's head, so.
It was a
you
little
did-
leaguer. I didn't want to,
You
too
did good,
aggressive.
you did very good.
Thanks.
Commissioner McCullough.
Yes, sir, I think we probably all spent our Saturday at the ballpark. It was one of those Saturdays, usually I think the calendar facilitates where we can kind of open up at different times, but I know in my district alone, Briceville and Hilliard both opened up at 9 a.m. on Saturday morning. So I went to Hilliard, did all of the opening ceremonies there, so I did not get to see the opening ceremonies at Briceville, but I got to see the games going and everything like that. So it's just one of those things where you try to be everywhere at once, but it's always such a great day to be out there with the kids. Everybody knows that obviously we all sit in these seats to better the future for the next generation. I did not go to senior night, not because I'm not a senior citizen, but because.
Oh, see, I was gonna give you some.
Okay, I knew where you were going.
I was
with
gonna
that.
give you some cover on that one.
I didn't go because I'm not a senior citizen, but I was chaperoning, we had our MORP, our school dance for the middle schoolers. And so it's my very last year with the middle schooler. And so I kind of mommed on Saturday night after a ballpark
I actually
party on
know what that
Saturday.
stands for.
Okay.
MORP is prom backwards.
Yes, sir, for the.
Look at the
middle
senior
schooler.
citizen, right?
Okay, see,
For
so
middle-
everyone
for
got to
middle
dance.
schoolers.
Everyone got to dance the night away Saturday night. So, and I know I'm welcoming Miss Moore. I know one of the things, and correct me if I'm wrong, Miss May. I know you said she is not certified, but does it not require a certain amount of time in the seat before she will even certify, just for the public to be aware of
It
that?
does. You have to
Okay.
be in city, county, and local government or have done that, but we will be making the case that much of her work does actually relate to local government, so she may sit sooner than anticipated. She is a 16-year attorney, so she is very well experienced.
Yes, ma'am. I just know that for public record. I just wanted everyone to know that she is in the process, but it requires certain requirements within that
To
seat.
sit for the
and so-
exam. Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am. So thank you, Ms. Moore, and we look forward to having you.
And just, I'm not trying to clarify it, this is the norm, right?
Oh,
I mean,
yes.
This is the norm for a new,
I was lucky with Abigail to get somebody already
right.
certified.
You're
That is
you're
not-
certified in all these, you know, the county government boards, and so is Ms. May. But this is the norm, when you bring in someone who's considered, as far as our org chart goes, at the junior level in the legal department, to have to do that. It's
Certainly,
not-
because you have to
yeah.
be in the spot for about
Right,
3
right.
years.
And having said that, our previous county attorney didn't have these certifications, all right? So that's not a dart being thrown at him, but it's an example of where we are now with our team, okay? So, Commissioner Gray.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Saturday, March 2nd, I was out at Yulee Little League's opening day, and had a lot of fun out there at the Yulee Sports Complex. I had the undersheriff out there with me. I think Commissioner Hupton was out there with me last year, I believe, right? Yep, it's a lot of fun, and spent a good bit of the day out there at our park, and it's just a wonderful time of the year. Like everybody says, our ballpark's open, our children are all out playing, and just had a great time. I as well was with Commissioner Huffman and Commissioner Martin and enjoyed our first senior night out event by Parks and Recreation. There was hundreds of people in attendance. It was a packed house, and it poured down rain, and it was a packed house. Callahan Barbecue was very, very good. Everybody danced, had a good time. It was a lot of fun. I also want to thank the 24 Leadership Nassau class for, I believe they secured all of the prizes that they gave away during bingo and the door prizes and everything, and they volunteered. So that was a huge help to our Parks and Recreation Department out there. That was really good. And this coming Saturday, if you ain't doing nothing, you want to be a commissioner, come on out. We stay pretty busy. We got the Community Stewards of Yulee hosting a parade this Saturday. And it's going to be March 16th from 1 to 3 p.m. And it's going to be the Community Stewards of Yulee hosting St. Patrick's Day Parade. And it's going to honor our fire departments and all of our first responders and the LEO, law enforcement officers. The event's going to be from 1 to 3 p.m. The route will be at William Burgess Judicial Complex east to Harts Road at our brand-new William Burgess Nassau Crossing Park intersection there. So I'm going to be in the parade. I think it's very minimal cost to join, but if y'all like to come out, I'm sure the community would appreciate you coming out. I plan on being there. So I want to do a shout out to the Community Stewards of Yulee, and also welcome Ms. Moore to our team. Thank you very much for joining us, and we're looking forward to working with you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Farmer.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First off, I'd like to welcome Ms. Moore to the legal team. Thank you for joining us. I think you'll find that this is a great team. And secondly, I'd like to say that there's also some upcoming events that I'd like to mention. Some of you guys have hit on some of them, and then there's a few that you didn't mention. Of course, I plan on being at the Community Stewards Yulee St. Patrick's Day Parade. Their lineup will be at 1 p.m. If you can, come out and support that event. I think it'll be a great event, and it'll lead into something really big moving into the future. They asked everybody dress up with their green for St. Patrick's Day, so it'd be good to see something right here local that we don't have to travel somewhere else to go and be a part of, from William Burgess out to Harts Road. I mean, it's not like it's a real big, long parade, but, it'll be something that we can stand behind and support. Let's don't forget that the Hilliard Town Cleanup is coming up on March the 23rd. That'll be another community event that, we'd like to try and invite the public to, because it's a great community event. It shows leadership between the county commission and the town of Hilliard and how they work together. Also, April the 20th is Caitlin's Ride for Autism. It's not too late to sign up for that. So it's coming up on us pretty quick. Go ahead and reach out to Caitlin's Ride for Autism and go ahead and get signed up for that. If you got a golf cart, it's a great time. If you've never been there before, it's a wonderful community event. And let's see, this last Saturday, I also was at the Callahan opening day for the ballpark. I was asked to speak to the coaches and the parents, volunteers, student athletes. It was a phenomenal turnout. It was outstanding to see the teams collaborate for opening day and, of course, talk about a lot of the park improvements. I can tell you that the parents and the coaches, it does not go unnoticed by my colleagues, staff, Parks and Rec Director, Director Robertson. When we got here to the board in 2020, we had no Parks and Rec Director. So I think again, to Commissioner Martin's point, it's just another way to show the people that, we have evolved and we're continuing to evolve and we're continuing to sharpen our pencil for those that we serve. Sunday, left there, went out to a pig picking in Briceville. Community leader, Mr. Rocky Lynn, and his family out on Horseshoe Circle had a lot of community leaders and family and friends and neighbors were there. It was a great event. He also, along with the other neighbors there, sang praises of the 121 project. As we know, the condition of the south end of that road from 119 to the south has been in pretty poor condition. So they're really, really happy to see us moving forward. And the fact that we got state funding for that project, at no cost to the taxpayer was actually a really good talking point as well. Nassau County Sheriff's Office, tomorrow morning, 10 a.m., they've got the Employee of the Year Awards. So for my colleagues that maybe aren't aware of that or maybe didn't see the email, I'm pretty sure you probably got the same email I did, but I just want to make sure and mention that. And I wanted to say that to Commissioner Gray's point, that people think that, man, all those guys do is just 3 meetings a month, you know what I mean? And there's nothing more to it than that. Anybody could do it, But I'd like to also say that, and this was just I set this goal when I got elected to this seat in 2020. I said, I'm going to do more than what I've seen in the past. And I said, I'm going to go to a minimum of 5 community events every month of some sort to show the people that I'm more than just a guy here behind the dais and more than a guy that answers his phone and his emails. So, ladies and gentlemen, this ain't a 9 to 5, it ain't a 7 to 3. It's a nonstop labor of love. And I'd just like to, thank you all for giving me the opportunity because I think as a group that we've done a real fine job of stepping things up when it comes to community service. And that's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Commissioner Farmer. Okay, before I get into probably repeating a lot of what my colleagues said, there is some housekeeping business to take care of. County manager, we need to give direction on the Convention and Visitor Board's request for a support letter for the Florida Department of Historical Resources, Florida Museum of Black History Task Force, to try to get the future home of the Florida Museum of Black History here. So would you like to elaborate on that?
Yes, sir. The CVB has requested a letter of support from the Board of County Commissioners regarding their application to the state of Florida. It's an application that was being led by and initiated by the CVB. The option is yours. If you choose to provide a letter of support, I would ask that you make it, they provided a sample, make it subject to county staff amending it to be fitting and have the chairman sign it.
So is there a motion to provide this letter of support?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion that we provide a letter of support. And he's got a few things. Obviously, I've read the letter. I presume you guys have read the letter. There are some omissions to that letter that we talked about that I'm sure that, he's got to make some amendments to. But I'm going to make a motion that you share that letter of support with the
Mr. Chairman, I would like to second that motion, please.
So we have a motion from Commissioner Farmer, a second from Commissioner Gray. And the motion is to provide the letter of support with the appropriate amendments to it that the county attorney and county manager deem see fit. Commissioner McCullough.
That's what and so will we receive a copy of that letter before it goes, Mr. Pope? Or no, you're just gonna make?
I'd be happy to share it with you, but the motion would grant us the
To make
authority to
those
execute.
changes. Okay, yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Booth. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
So is there any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. This is easier, little bit of housekeeping. In addition to our new Assistant County Attorney, we have a new planner, I understand. Would you like to introduce?
Is Elizabeth here?
No. Oh, okay.
She's-
Good evening, Commissioners, and thank you for mentioning that. We do have a new planner. His name is Drew Pearson, and he is here. Mr. Pearson, if you would like to stand up, and if you would like to just introduce yourself briefly. Thank you so much.
Hi, good afternoon, Chairman Martin and Commissioners. My name is Drew Pearson. I do come to Nassau County from Botetourt County, which is in Virginia. That's in the Roanoke Valley. I served my last 8 years there as a senior planner, so I'm looking forward to carrying that position here in Nassau and serving you and the fine citizens of Nassau County. I've actually had over 30 years of service in the planning field, so definitely looking forward to being here for a while. And my wife, Margaret, and I are so thrilled to be able to call Nassau County our home and make it our home.
Welcome aboard.
Thank you.
Okay, before I forget, tab P is informational only. Board of County Commissioners newsletter for January 2024. Thank you again to County Manager, staff, Sabrina Robinson, Katie Brock, and I believe Amy Bell has something to do with this too, for the good work that they do with the newsletter. Okay, I'm gonna have to go to my phone here because there's so many local athletes to recognize, if I can find it. Well, here we go. Fernandina Beach High School wrestling team had a stellar week at the state championships, and I thought I had it here. Let me see. Give me 1 second. Okay, I'm not as prepared as I should be. But I want to recognize a couple of the wrestlers that did extremely well. Enzo Gamba, Gamba, his senior year, 54-0. 54-0, and he is the state champion at 156 pounds. Kale, I'm going to butcher the name, Kale Kubatke, Kubatke, and he was the state runner-up in his weight class. And there were 2 other wrestlers, I don't have it written down, that placed 4th and 5th from Fernandina Beach High School. And you have one from Yulee High School.
I think so, yeah. I don't know his name, though, yeah.
Nolan McKelvey was one of the boys at the 5th state because he wrestles at Fernandina, but he attends school with us at Hilliard. He was the gentleman that spoke at the podium.
Got it, okay.
Yes,
And
sir.
Rick, first name escapes me, I think it's Braylon, Ricks. He, was his first name Braylon? Braylon Ricks, Yulee High School senior. He came in state runner-up in the heavyweight division. And so, congratulations to all these wrestlers on an outstanding season, and best of luck in the future. All right. We do try to go as many places as we possibly can, and I was going to give Commissioner McCullough a pass on the senior night at the fairgrounds, because all of the 55 and older commissioners were there, because that's what it was, 55 and older, so you get a pass on that one.
Yeah, I'm still 7 years shy.
I know, you get a pass on, because we're like, I wonder where they are. We've.
I missed out on a fun time.
I told you I danced the
No, we
night
were.
away.
And I'm thinking, oh, they must have had something else they had to do, right? And then on the ride home, I'm like, I talked to my wife, I'm like, I know why they weren't there. They're not 55 and older. So the 55 and older contingent was there. Had a good time. Good job to Jay Robinson, and Sabrina also was there, the PIO putting that event on. The Bryceville Playground ribbon cutting was very well attended. The Callahan soccer field ribbon cutting for the new lights out there. Let me tell you, if you have not gone out to the Callahan ballpark, oh my God, it's unbelievable the number of participants out there. I couldn't even count how many cars were there. There had to be 300 cars there. So that means, and each car probably had a couple of kids and parents and all that. So I couldn't believe how many people were out there. And let me tell you, they're very excited for the support that they're getting from us and the county manager and staff with Parks and Recreation. So that was very well done also. Let's see, what am I leaving out? Oh, the Elm Street Little League, where Commissioner Hutman came into my district and got to throw out the first pitch. That was okay. But,
By invitation, I might add.
he was poaching a little bit, but that's all right. And, but yeah, it was good. I mean, my youngest granddaughter, she's 8 years old and she plays in that league. And so there's a lot of excitement there. And kudos to us. There were more county commissioners at that opening ceremony than there were city commissioners. But having said that, thank you to Vice Mayor Sturgis, who was there, and his comments, and I echoed what he had to say, was that how well the city and county commissions are working together now, instead of the way it had been in the not-too-distant past, prior to 2020, where there wasn't a whole lot of collaboration and cooperation. So that's a credit to this commission and to county manager and his staff. I think I covered it all. If I missed anything, I apologize.
I want to ask one question. Did they put a radar gun on that pitch?
I don't think it got past 60.
It was Little League.
Oh, well, we'll give you.
I told him, I said,
a mulligan then.
this is fast pitch, this is fast pitch softball. I said, so I was trying to shake him up a little bit before. But he did a good job. We're adjourned.
It was a strike, right down the middle.